ati ugali hii sembe hii tunajua could be killing more people than cocaine. I think a research needs to be done on that, because mimi nilisikia hizo inakaa kama jokes, and when I heard those facts zilikuwa mind blowing, and that's ideas that were placed ama zilikuwa presented kwa show yetu na Dr. Harun Njago from Switzerland. You can go watch the whole ugali na weight loss concepts on our YouTube channel. The video is already up. The reason why I had to trace him again at the Tribe Hotel, of course, the podcast is coming. The first one is already up. You can check it out. On top of ugali, he had so many things to say about chapo na pia maziwa, and I was like, hey, festive season, hatuwezi acha good vibes ziende. So, Dr. Harun, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Yes, thank you for having me again.
Karibu.
Asante.
So unajua these submissions za social media, we do them with my friend, anaitwa Senior Counsel Otieno Mokaya.
Otieno Mokaya, yeah.
So thank you for actually making time. Kuja tukuambush.
Sawa.
I couldn't let this go.
Yeah.
So after the pod, ukasema maziwa as we know it is also as dangerous.
Yes.
And you had very interesting reasons why. So ndio nisikuwe na kierere. What's going on there?
So maziwa, actually if you check, we human beings, we're the only species on earth that still drink milk when we're adults. So sisi ndio watu tumeshafika adulthood na bado tunakunywa maziwa. And actually maziwa ni ya mtoto. Yeah, and we are the only species on earth that drinks milk from another species. So if you look at the cow, the genes of the cow is not the same as the genes of the human being. Yeah, so we are totally different. So actually, if we were supposed to drink milk, tungekuwa tunakunywa maziwa ya mama ama maziwa ya chimpanzee, which is a little bit closer to us human beings.
Nani atakamua chimpanzee? But then again, nutritionist wengine wanaweza argue. But Dr. Harun is a neurologist trained in Germany, practices in Switzerland. Nutritionist unaweza sema ati the protein content ya maziwa ndio inasaidia binadamu as the body breaks it down.
Yeah, so you see the protein content ya maziwa, it's meant for a calf, at the end of the day when it's an adult to become 4 tons. So as human beings, we can never grow that big, and we cannot go through that. We can never grow that heavy. So hiyo maziwa, the content of proteins, na the content of hormones kwa hiyo maziwa, it's too much for a human being. So if you look at the milk itself, where it's being produced in the breast of the cow. That's where most of the estrogen levels are the highest. So ukikunywa hiyo maziwa, the amount of estrogen that you're drinking and taking into your body is so much for human consumption, such that it might cause problems. Mostly, let's say in women, kama hiyo estrogen ni nyingi sana kwa maziwa, na ukikunywa hiyo maziwa, it might cause lots of breast cancers, endometriosis, prolonged menstruation, and very painful menstruation flaws. It might cause also fibroids. And other proteins ya hiyo maziwa pia ni too much for the human consumption. It can also boost or stimulate the growth of cancer as well.
So very many things umesema hapo. Number one, genes ya ng'ombe is different from human beings genes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how does the estrogen in a cow come bring the same effect ya estrogen in human beings?
So you see the hormones, estrogen is a growth hormone. And the function of the estrogen is the same in the animals, just like in the human beings. So for the function for estrogen is to promote growth.
Yes.
So binadamu akikunywa from the milk, it will be broken down into small particles, and those hormones can enter the bloodstream. And if they're taken in large consumption and large amounts, it might cause harm to the human body.
Whoa. So most of these diseases can be traced to vitu kama maziwa directly. Is it raw milk? Does the boiling help? Does converting milk into tea help?
No, the boiling doesn't help. Because even if you boil the milk, the estrogen is still intact and it still be absorbed in the human body into the bloodstream, and then does its function in the human body just like in the cow and just like in the human body, because human beings also produce estrogen, just like the women produce estrogen, but it's estrogen levels that is not harmful to the human body. But now if you take extra estrogen from the cow, then it becomes harmful to the human body. So that's one side effect of milk. So milk has a lot of fatty acids. And like I said in the podcast yesterday, by the way, what that podcast, it has a lot of fatty acid, and it has COOH group, which is highly acidic, and also which is highly reactive, because it produces a lot of oxygen reactive species when it's broken down in the mitochondria. So this reactive oxygen species, which is called hydroxyl radicals, they damage cells and they damage the DNA, and then it causes also irritation and inflammation, and it might also cause degenerative diseases as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
The podcast has more interesting information, and that's the first one tunaenda kufanya ya pili. And now, during festive season, I couldn't let this go because people have waited 1 year, or let's say 51 weeks, to eat as many chapatis as they can this season. There's bad news for that.
So before we go to chapati, the milk itself also, when you check milk, ukikunywa maziwa nyingi, it's also acidic. It has lactic acid. So that acid, the human body is basic. So it has a pH of 7.4. And when you take too much acid in your body, like when you take animal products, and if you take also milk, it makes the body to become acidic. So that acid has to be neutralized. So for it to be neutralized, for the body to become basic as well, so that the body can function, the body functions best at a pH level of 7.4. So if you put too much acid, it will become acidic. So the body has to neutralize that acid, and it will use the reserves, the base reserves, that is calcium and phosphate, that is stored in the bones and in the teeth. So it will break down the bones and the teeth. It will break down the calcium to neutralize that acid. That's why you also get degeneration of the bones, degeneration of the teeth. That's why you start getting problems on the bones and the joints. So
because the body is compensating.
The body is compensating to neutralize that acid. That's why cow milk is not good for human consumption.
But some people would argue, I have a friend anaitwa YY comedian, anasemanga doctors tell us not to eat junk, not to eat nini. Unaona ati wazungu wanakula hizo vitu, alafu unakutana na mzungu mzee. So like they've eaten that and they've grown old.
Sasa wale wazungu wazee, wale pia wanaonekana wanakula hizo vitu na wanakula junk and all that, the diseases that they get from that are being well maintained because they have a good health system. So they get medication for that, and they don't die because of symptoms of those diseases.
They don't die, but they are not healthy.
They are not healthy. They are suffering. They're taking medication, a list of medication like this. I have many patients who come to my consultation, and if you look at the diagnosis that they have, the amount of diseases that they have, it's a huge list, and the amount of medication that they take, it's a huge list like this. You find somebody taking like 17 different medications. Just to maintain the health. And just to maintain the symptoms, and also those medications that they're taking has a lot of side effects. So the doctors prescribe medication, to control a symptom, and then they get side effects, and then give another drug to maintain that side effect. So it's like a vicious cycle. So they're old, the disease is maintained, and that's why they still can afford to die of old age.
So it's not a record dying of old age. Like it's what's the quality of life you have at your old age.
That's
okay. Before we close, because easy submissions nakwanga short. Chapati.
So in the podcast yesterday, I forgot to mention chapati. Chapati is also the same culprit like white ugali. Chapati is wheat, and wheat can also be easily broken down into glucose. So anything easily broken down into glucose and has less fiber is harmful to the body, because high sugar intake might cause an insulin spike, and that high sugar content will be taken to the bloodstream, taken to the cells, and also be stored as fat, and might cause atherosclerosis, cardiovascular diseases, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease, and heart attack and stroke, and can also cause lots of memory problems, fatigue, and also dopamine dysregulation symptoms, behavioral changes and all that. Yeah.
Aya, tumewekea email address ya Dr. Harun hapa chini, nimemtag on this or his social media handles just in case you wanna make a consultation na kitu yenye tujakava, na bado the podcast iko na information, porn information. Moral of the story, guys, this festive season, eat grass. See you on the next one.